Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and wondered why your life isn't where you want it to be? Have you ever felt like your biggest battle isn't with the world out there, but with the person staring back at you? Because let me tell you something right now, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. It's not the economy, it's not your past, it's not who doubted you or who left you, it's the choices you make, the mindset you carry, and the actions you're too afraid to take. The battle within is real, and it's fierce. It's the voice telling you to give up when things get hard. It's the doubt whispering that you're not good enough. It's the excuses that keep you stuck, the fear that holds you back, and the habits that sabotage your success. But here's the truth. Nothing changes if you don't. The first step to winning any fight is knowing what you're up against. Too many of us think the enemy is out there, the boss who doesn't see your worth, the partner who doesn't support your dreams, or the system that feels rigged against you. But the real fight isn't external. It's happening right inside of you. It's the battle between who you are today and who you know you're meant to be. The sooner you admit this, the sooner you can get to work. You've got to look in the mirror and face the truth. Are you holding yourself back? Are you making excuses? Are you letting fear, doubt, and procrastination run the show? Don't lie to yourself, because that's the biggest betrayal of all. Self-awareness is your first weapon in this fight. Without it, you're swinging blindly in the dark. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about owning your reality. You can't fix what you won't face. If you feel stuck, admit it. If you're scared, name it. The truth will set you free, but only if you're willing to confront it head on. There's power in saying, I see what's holding me back, and I'm not okay with it anymore. That's where the transformation begins. Acknowledge that every day is a new round in this battle. You don't get to sit on the sidelines. You're either moving forward or falling behind. But the beauty of it is that every moment is a chance to start fresh. Don't dwell on yesterday's losses, focus on today's opportunities. Understand that this fight is personal. Nobody else can fight it for you. Your friends, your family, your mentors, they can cheer you on, but they can't step into the ring. This is your fight to win, and that's what makes the victory so sweet. Once you acknowledge the battle, you gain clarity. You stop wasting energy on the things that don't matter and start focusing on what does. Clarity brings purpose, and purpose brings power. But it all starts with that first honest step, admitting there's a battle to fight. Ask yourself right now, what's the fight inside you? What's the thing you've been avoiding, denying, or running from? Acknowledge it, because until you do, you'll stay stuck. And let me tell you, staying stuck is the same as losing. Too many people waste their lives waiting for the stars to align. They say, I'll start when the time is right. Let me tell you something, the time is never going to feel right. There will always be obstacles, distractions, and reasons to wait. Perfect conditions don't exist. If you're waiting for them, you're just delaying your success. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of surprises. That's not a reason to pause, it's a reason to push forward. The chaos of life is a constant, but your commitment to your goals can be too. Stop waiting for the noise to quiet down and start learning how to focus in the middle of it. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've achieved greatness. Do you think their path was smooth? Do you think they had all the resources, support, or time they needed when they started? No. They started in the middle of a mess and they figured it out along the way. That's what you've got to do too. Every day you spend waiting is a day you lose. Time is the one resource you can never get back. So while you're sitting there planning and waiting for conditions to improve, someone else is out there taking action and they're getting ahead. Don't let your hesitation turn into regret. Starting now doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. It just means you have to take the first step. Maybe it's small, maybe it's clumsy, but it's a step. And one step leads to another. Before you know it, you're building momentum. Understand that the idea of ready is a myth. Nobody ever feels completely ready for the big moments in their life. You become ready by showing up, by trying, by failing, and by learning. So stop waiting to feel prepared. Just start and let the process prepare you. The only perfect condition is the one you create by taking action. The moment you decide to move forward, regardless of what's happening around you, is the moment you reclaim your power. Stop waiting for the world to change. It's time for you to change. The comfort zone is a trap. It feels safe, it feels familiar, but it's the very thing that keeps you stuck. Nothing great has ever been achieved in the comfort zone. You've got to break free from it if you want to see real change. Staying comfortable might feel good for now, but in the long run, it will cost you everything you're capable of becoming. Growth is painful. It's uncomfortable. It stretches you in ways you didn't know were possible. But that discomfort is where the magic happens. Every time you step outside of your comfort zone, you expand your capacity. You grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient. You discover parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed. Most people are terrified of discomfort. They think, what if I fail? What if I look stupid? But let me tell you something, failure is not the enemy. Staying the same is the enemy. You can survive failure, but you can't thrive in mediocrity. The cost of staying in your comfort zone is far greater than the cost of stepping out of it. Think about it. Every breakthrough in your life came from doing something uncomfortable. Your first job, your first relationship, your first big decision, they all required you to take a leap of faith. So why stop now? Why settle for comfort when you've already proven you're capable of so much more? Breaking out of your comfort zone doesn't mean taking reckless risks. It means challenging yourself in small, deliberate ways every single day. It's about pushing yourself to do the things you've been avoiding, whether it's having a tough conversation, learning a skill, or chasing a dream that scares you. Understand this, your comfort zone will fight to keep you in. It will whisper lies like you don't need to try that or you're fine where you are. But those lies are just fear in disguise. You've got to shut them down and take action anyway. Every time you step out, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your fears. You'll never reach your full potential if you stay where it's comfortable. The best version of you is waiting on the other side of fear, that doubt, that resistance. The only way to meet that version of yourself is to step out of the safety net and into the unknown. If your life isn't where you want it to be, you've got to own that. Stop pointing fingers at other people, at your circumstances, or your past. None of those things have the power to control your future unless you let them. Taking responsibility isn't about blame, it's about power. When you own your choices, you own your destiny. Nobody owes you anything. The world isn't going to hand you success on a silver platter. You've got to work for it, fight for it, and earn it. And the first step to earning it is realizing that your life is your responsibility. Nobody else is coming to save you. Taking responsibility means looking at your habits, your decisions, and your mindset and asking yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? It's not about beating yourself up. It's about being honest with yourself. Because until you're honest, you can't make real change. So it's easy to play the victim. It's easy to say, this isn't my fault, or I can't do anything about this. But every time you play the victim, you give away your power. You give control of your life to someone or something else. Taking responsibility is how you take that power back. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for life to happen to you, and you start making life happen for you. You stop reacting to circumstances and start creating them. You stop hoping for a better future and start building it with your own two hands. It's not about being perfect, it's about being accountable. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall short sometimes, but when you take responsibility, you learn from those mistakes and you use them to get better. Every setback becomes a setup for a comeback. Taking responsibility isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. It's waking up every morning and saying, I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my happiness. I'm in charge of my success. When you live like that, nothing can stop you. Fear is the biggest liar you'll ever meet. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, that you'll fail if you try. But fear doesn't know the truth about you. Fear is just a story your mind tells to keep you safe. And it's time to rewrite that story. You've got to understand that fear isn't the enemy, it's a sign. Fear shows up whenever you're about to do something that matters. If you're scared, it means you're on the edge of growth. It means you're stepping into something bigger than yourself. Don't run from that feeling, lean into it. The only way to beat fear is to face it. Avoiding it only makes it stronger. The more you run, the bigger it gets. But when you stand up to fear, when you look it in the eye and take action anyway, it starts to shrink. Every step you take toward your fear is a step away from its control over you. Fear will always try to talk you out of your dreams. It will tell you to stay where it's safe, to play small, and to settle for less. But you weren't put on this earth to play small. You were put here to make an impact, to leave a legacy, to live boldly. Fear has no place in that equation. You've faced fear before and you've overcome it. Think about the times in your life when you were scared but did it anyway. Those moments didn't break you, they built you. They proved that you're stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and more capable than you know. Fear isn't something you conquer once and for all, it's something you conquer every day. It's a constant battle, but it's a battle worth fighting. Because on the other side of fear is freedom. On the other side of fear is the life you've been dreaming of. So the next time fear shows up, don't see it as a stop sign, see it as a green light. See it as a challenge to rise to the occasion. Because every time you face your fears, you take another step toward the person you are meant to be. Motivation is a great starting point, but it's not enough to get you across the finish line. Motivation comes and goes, it's like a spark. But discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire burning no matter what. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Think about it. How many times have you felt motivated to start something only to lose steam a few days later? That's because motivation is temporary. It's an emotion, and emotions change. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It's a choice you make every single day, no matter how you feel. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work when nobody's watching. It means staying consistent when the excitement wears off and the grind begins. Discipline is what keeps you going when the motivation is gone, and that's what leads to success. The truth is, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not flashy or exciting. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's saying no to distractions when everyone else is saying yes. It's putting in the work day after day, even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when you don't see immediate results. Most people rely on motivation to get started, but the winners rely on discipline to keep going. They understand that success is a long game, and you can't win a long game with short-term thinking. They don't wait for the right mood or the right moment. They create it with discipline. Discipline is a habit, and like any habit, it takes time to build. You've got to train yourself to stay committed, to stay focused, to stay on track. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because once you've built that discipline, nothing can shake you. You become unstoppable. Don't rely on motivation to carry you through. Build your discipline and let that be your foundation. Because when you have discipline, you don't need to feel motivated. You just need to decide to act and to keep moving forward. The people you surround yourself with are either lifting you or dragging you down. There's no in between. If you're serious about changing your life, you've got to take a hard look at your circle. Are they pushing you to be better? Or are they holding you back? Energy is contagious. Spend enough time around negative people and their negativity will rub off on you. Spend enough time around ambitious, driven people and their mindset will become your mindset. That's why your circle is so important. It shapes your habits, your thoughts, and ultimately your future. You've got to be intentional about who you allow into your life. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people are only there to drain, to distract. They're not rooting for you. They're competing with you or using you. It's up to you to recognize that and make the necessary changes. Cutting people off isn't easy, but sometimes it's necessary. It doesn't mean you're cruel or selfish. It means you're protecting your energy, your peace, and your purpose. You can't pour into others if you're constantly being drained by the wrong people. Surrounding yourself with the right people means finding those who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. It means connecting with people who believe in your potential even when you doubt it. It means building a circle of winners who lift each other instead of tearing each other down. You don't need a big circle to succeed. You need a strong one. A small group of loyal, positive, and driven individuals is worth more than a crowd of fair-weather friends. Quality over quantity is the key when it comes to your relationships. Take a look at your circle and ask yourself, are these people helping me grow? Are they adding value to my life? If the answer is no, it's time to make some changes because the company you keep will either make you or break you. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. You can't win without losing first. You can't grow without stumbling along the way. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace because every failure is a lesson. And every lesson brings you closer to your goals. People are so afraid of failing that they never even try. They let the fear of failure paralyze them, keep them stuck, and rob them of opportunities. But the truth is, failure is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter how hard you try to avoid it. So instead of fearing it, learn to face it head on. When you fail, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of your effort. It means you took a risk, you tried something new, you stepped out of your comfort zone. That's something to be proud of, not ashamed of. Failure is proof that you're in the game, that you're taking action, that you're moving forward. Every successful person has a long list of failures behind them. The difference is they didn't let those failures stop them. They used them as fuel to keep going, to keep learning, to keep improving. They understood that failure is not the end, it's a stepping stone to success. Failure teaches you what doesn't work so you can figure out what does. It builds resilience. It sharpens your skills and it strengthens your character. Without failure, there's no growth. Without failure, there's no progress. Failure is the price you pay for greatness. You can't avoid failure, but you can control how you respond to it. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. You can let it discourage you, or you can let it motivate you. The choice is yours. How you handle failure will determine how far you go in life. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not trying. Because the only true failure is staying in the same place, never taking risks, never stepping out, never reaching for more. Let failure be your teacher, not your enemy. There is no such thing as the perfect moment. Life isn't going to hand you a golden opportunity on a silver platter. If you're waiting for everything to align perfectly before you take action, you're going to be waiting forever. The perfect moment doesn't exist. You've got to create it. People spend so much time preparing, planning, and overthinking that they never actually start. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, the perfect setup, but all they're doing is delaying their progress. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and unknowns. That's life. If you want something, you've got to go after it now. Waiting for the perfect moment is just an excuse to avoid taking risks. It's fear disguised as patience. It's the lie you tell yourself to stay comfortable, to avoid failure, to stay in your safe zone. But comfort zones are where dreams go to die. Growth happens when you step out, when you take risks, when you start before you're ready. The truth is that action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence leads to results. But none of that happens if you're standing still waiting for the stars to align. You've got to move, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain, even if you're scared. Progress, not perfection, is what matters. Every big accomplishment starts with a small, imperfect step. Every successful person began somewhere, often with nothing but a dream and a willingness to try. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They made the moment perfect by showing up, working hard, by refusing to quit. It's not about being fully prepared. It's about being willing to try, willing to learn, willing to grow. You don't need all the answers to start. You just need the courage to begin. The rest will fall into place as you go. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop holding yourself back. Take that first step, no matter how small, no matter how uncertain. Because the only way to create the perfect moment is to act. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to success. It holds you back, keeps you small, and stops you from reaching your full potential. But here's the thing, fear only has power if you let it. The only way to conquer fear is to face it head on. Fear thrives in the shadows. It grows when you avoid it, when you ignore it, when you let it dictate your decisions. But the moment you shine a light on your fears, the moment you confront them, they start to lose their grip. Fear is a liar, and it feeds on your hesitation. You've got to understand that fear isn't the enemy, it's a guide. It's pointing you toward the areas where you need to grow. The things you're afraid of are often the things you need to do the most. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Facing your fears doesn't mean you won't feel scared. It means you act despite the fear. It means you push through the discomfort, the doubt, the uncertainty. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going, even when you're terrified. When you face your fears, you take back your power. You prove to yourself that you're stronger than the things that scare you. You build confidence, resilience, and self-belief. You learn that fear is temporary, but regret is permanent. Most of the time, the fear is worse than the reality. The things you're afraid of are never as bad as you imagine. And even if they are, you're stronger than you think. You can handle more than you realize. Facing your fears shows you just how capable you are. Don't let fear control your life. Don't let it dictate your choices, your actions, your future. Step up, face it, and push through it, because on the other side of fear is freedom, growth, and everything you've been working for. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success, happiness, or fulfillment. If you want something, you've got to take responsibility for your life and go get it. Blaming others, making excuses, and waiting for someone else to fix things will get you nowhere. Taking responsibility means owning your choices, your actions, and your outcomes. It means recognizing that your life is a result of what you do or don't do. It's not about blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong, but about taking control of what you can change. Too many people waste time pointing fingers, blaming their circumstances, their past, or other people for their situation. But the truth is, blaming doesn't change anything. It doesn't move you forward. It doesn't solve the problem. Only action does that. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. You stop being a victim and start being the creator of your own life. You stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It's the key to freedom. Taking responsibility also means holding yourself accountable. It means being honest about your efforts, your mistakes, and your results. It means asking yourself, what can I do better? How can I grow? What steps can I take right now to improve my situation? Responsibility isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It forces you to step up, to take ownership, to become the person you need to be to achieve your goals. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about doing your best every single day. Stop waiting for someone else to change your life. Stop waiting for circumstances to align, for opportunities to fall into your lap, for someone to permit you. Take responsibility, take action, and take control. Consistency is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's not about working hard for a week or a month and then giving up. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and staying committed no matter how long it takes. Success isn't built on big, flashy moments. It's built on the small, consistent actions you take every single day. It's built on the habits you develop, the routines you follow, and the discipline you maintain. Consistency is the foundation of greatness. The problem is that most people quit before they see results. They get impatient, frustrated, or discouraged. They want instant gratification. And when they don't get it, they give up. But success doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, steady climb, and consistency is what gets you to the top. Consistency is about doing the right things, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, and even when it feels like nothing is happening. It's about trusting the process, believing in the journey, and staying focused on the bigger picture.